United Way is not the only part of collective impact. We are a part of collective impact, but we are not collective impact. We're not the one making all the decisions. I wish everyone understood that, United Way is committing to helping make this change in our community, and it's only going to work if the community helps us. It's not just us saying this is what we're doing, it's the community saying this is how we're going to make a difference for our neighbors.
Today I am talking with Ty Lamm, the Collective Impact Coordinator for United Way. Welcome, Ty, to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me, Diana.
There's one question that we like to ask all of our guests. What's in your cup right now as we chat? Do you have a favorite beverage?
Oh, yeah, I'm actually just sipping on some water. I try to make sure I get at least a couple bottles of water in before lunchtime, and then I usually drink a lot of Diet Coke with lemon. So
Yeah.
some balance.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I'm curious, Ty, what brought you originally to Weld County?
Yeah, thank you. I have been in Weld County since 2018. I'm originally from a small northeastern town in Colorado called Holyoke, which is a small rural farming community, about 2,800 people. But I came up to Weld County for school. I took classes at Ames Community College and then eventually went on to the University of Northern Colorado, where I graduated with my degree in communication studies and leadership. I love Weld County. I think there's so many opportunities for young people, young families that are moving from, either Denver or super rural communities. I think the biggest thing for me is that it's really helped me find my identity as an individual because it's had a lot of great opportunities and experiences for me to grow as a young professional. And I'm forever thankful for all the great people I've met here. It feels so big, but it's so small. We're neighbors helping neighbors. No one's above one another. And that's something that I've just taken really great pride of is just the sense of neighborly love.
That's a beautiful way to put that. And so what brought you to United Way of Weld County?
I actually took a business class and I had to interview local leaders in the community. And I found myself in the United Way building. And I interviewed Vernice Thomas, who's with Life Stories, but was with United Way. So I kind of knew of United Way a little bit. After I graduated, I was really just kind of looking for somewhere where I could give back to the community because I wouldn't have been able to finish school without some of the people I've met in the community and their support. And I think giving back is the best way that you can repay for all the good that's come to you in your life. I just knew that I wanted to be in a nonprofit, and I saw this position and I emailed Ernest. I was like, hey, I'm a fresh graduate, but I would love to be a part of what you guys are doing. And Ernest took a chance on me, and now I'm here and I can imagine being anywhere else right now.
And so now you are the coordinator for Collective Impact. And
Yes.
collective impact is something that we talk a lot about at United Way, but I think it's still a relatively fresh term for some people who may not be in the nonprofit world. So could you give us your definition of collective impact and what it is and what it means?
Yeah, for me, collective impact is the way for different partner agencies and organizations and actually community members themselves. It's kind of this three-step fold where you have to have everybody on board from the CEOs of nonprofits, the local business leaders, government, to the people that live in the community. You have to have everyone working together toward a shared goal that's going to create everlasting change. It's really a all hands on deck. There's not one single organization will be able to solve a problem, but if we bring together everybody through collective impact, then we're going to be able to make a difference.
It's also a little bit different than just collaborating, right? It's more than just saying,
Yes,
"Hey, let's do this together."
absolutely.
So can you tell us a little bit more about what, beyond collaborating, what is
Mhm.
involved?
Yeah, so collective impact actually has five key ideas, or they're called core conditions, five core conditions that go into collective impact. And what makes it more than just everyone showing up to a meeting place and just saying, all right, here's the issue. How do we solve it? Firstly, is having a common agenda. And having a common agenda is just everyone has the same vision and shares the goal that is in mind and understands the problem. Because if
Mm,
people just come together and they don't understand what we're working towards, then you can't make progress. And in order to make progress, you also have to have trackable and measurable measurements, and they need to make sure that we are sharing these same exact measurements across the entire field. That's kind of like where everyone loses tracks or doesn't think everyone aligns is because we don't have the same measurements of success. And
mm,
another, having mutually reinforcing activities. While we understand that each partner agency does different work, at the end, all these different things that these nonprofits and partner agencies do actually come together and work towards the same goal. If you think about household stability, it's so wide. So all these
mm,
different organizations will make an impact in household stability, but bringing them together and having continuous communication where we can build trust and have transparency with one another will allow us to make sure that work gets done. And
mm,
the last part of collective impact is having a backbone support. And that's what United Way is doing. United Way is great at convening and bringing people together and making sure that we have the right people at the table. If we have a dedicated team that is keeping everything running smoothly, then this is really what makes collective impact work is having all these five core conditions. And
mm,
I kind of like to think about it as a car. I
mm,
like to think in analogies. Collective impact is like a car if you really think about it. Having a common agenda is like a GPS. We want to make sure that we're going all in the same direction, the same location, having the
mm,
same goal. And the backbone is like, well, if all these people are coming together, how do we know that the work's being done? Well, that's because we have a backbone. That's the frame and the steering wheel. Backbone support isn't flashy work,
mm.
but it's what makes sure that everyone's moving together in the same direction. Everyone's physically in the same place doing the work.
I love that because it's like the container almost, all
Hmm.
of the people who are coming together towards that shared goal.
Absolutely. It's kind of like a candy salad, you put in some Starburst, you put in some gummy bears into the container. If you don't have the container, everything's just all over the floor.
Right. Yes, that's perfect. Yeah, and I like also how you had said that one of the pillars, if you will, of collective impact is not only having a shared vision, but also having a shared understanding of a problem.
Yeah,
Isn't that a lot of the work that's going on is having these community listening sessions to understand the problem that those are
absolutely.
about?
Yeah, so it's pretty spot on. We understand that Weld County is made up of so many different communities where everyone is going to have a different definition. But by having these community listening events and sessions, we're able to go into the community and hear what their needs are. With us being primarily in Greeley, we're not seeing the people that come in from Fort Lupton into our doors because they're needing help in Fort Lupton.
Hmm.
You think about people that are in Eaton, Alt, Grover, Windsor, Severance, Johnstown.
Hmm.
These people know what their neighbors need. They know what their community needs. They are the champions of their communities. So that's why we want to go into their communities. We're trying to hear what their needs are because collective impact isn't about a single organization saying these are our needs and the issues that are facing the community. Collective impact isn't one voice, it's a shared voice. It's everyone coming together. And we won't know what the community needs unless the community helps us by telling us what they see. And that is what's important.
So you've been
Yes.
hosting these community listening sessions and all across Weld County. Give us a picture of what those community listening sessions look like.
So, two main ones that we held were actually with our funded partner agencies and organizations that support collective impact.
Mm,
It's really important that they also have a voice at the table because we're going to be hearing from them and all these other different communities. And then, so
mm,
what we did is we brought together these two groups and we asked them, what is household stability? What does that mean to you? What does
mm,
that mean to the people that come in through your doors every day? We're just asking for like a simple generic definition as a overall goal before we get into like the meat and potatoes of it. So it was really interesting to hear what some of our partner agencies had to say about household stability, because we had some say it's having enough money at the end of the day to be able to cover emergencies. We understand that most Americans do not have the extra savings to
Mm,
pay for emergencies. Being laid off and not having a job for 2 weeks could mean the whole world to a family.
mm,
And so that's what
mm,
household stability is going to be about. Then we had people just throw out a bunch of ideas. What are
mm,
some areas in household stability that we could really make some effort in? We made them then vote down to their top five. And then
mm,
that's where the conversation gets tricky
mm,
because we understand that we can't make an impact in 10 different areas, right? We can't be a mile wide and an inch thick. We need to have depth. And so our
mm,
partner agencies had to vote down to three. And that's what we're going to be asking of the community as well. We'll be talking about cradle to career with them, household stability. And then the last thing we really ask of them is we ask about target populations
mm,
because we understand that there's so much going on in Weld County that so many people need help. But
mm,
what's the populations that need our help the most that we can start making more of a change and effort?
mm,
We talk about Alice, asset limited income, constrained
mm,
employed. We talk
right.
about our aging population. How do we make sure that they're a priority? Just
Mm-hmm.
it's really fascinating here hearing in the different communities the target populations that they want to have us help focus our funded
Mm-hmm.
efforts in.
Right. And ALICE is an acronym for people who are experiencing certain things, right? Can you
Yeah,
repeat those again?
yeah. Alice is asset limited, income constrained employed. It's a really great term to kind of think about the people that we see every day. Everyone you may know is an Alice. It's a single mom that's has two children that's working full time or even working more than 40 hours, but at the end of the day, it's just not enough to keep the family afloat. I like to use myself as Alice. When I was in college, I worked four different jobs, was in school full time.
Mm,
So I'm constantly working and I wasn't getting enough help. So
mm,
we've already known these people in our communities. You probably walk past Alice every day, but kind of
mm,
helps us pinpoint and say, okay, these are the people that need our help the most. And it
mm.
also encompasses people that are living in poverty as well.
I think that's a helpful way of describing their situations because there are a lot of people who do fall on hard times. I remember talking with a friend and she had gotten into a conversation with a man who was living on the streets.
Mm.
And it turned out that he had a PhD. He had been very accomplished in another time of his life. And this person asked him kindly and within the context of their conversation what happened. And he had said
Yeah.
it was 6 months of really bad luck. And I've been trying to get
Mm.
back ever since.
The Weld Together podcast is brought to you by United Way of Weld County, building powerful partnerships to bring about lasting community-wide change. Learn more at www.unitedway-weld.org.
What I love about United Way is that, kind of to what you were saying earlier, that no one is above anybody else. The people that United Way is trying to help are people who are just like all of us. We're all trying to do the best that we can. And some of us come into these seasons where the assets that we have to work with are limited,
Absolutely.
where income fluctuates and resources fluctuate. All of us at some point or another need help.
Absolutely. And I think a great thing about our community is no one looks at it as a handout. It's a hand up. Everyone just sometimes needs that hand that helps them when you're hiking or something and there's a steep part of the hill.
Hmm.
You need your mate that you're with to go up to the top and just give you that extra boost that you need. And the
Mm,
community is so great about doing that. And that's really what helps separate Weld County is everyone's willing to do that.
Mm.
The issue is that we just all need to come together, everyone in the community, to really surround and do that collective impact work.
Yes. United Way of Weld County is now going to focus on primarily being a collective impact backbone, and it will be in these two areas. But those two areas are really still encapsulating the great work that we've been involved in all of this time around all of those impact areas.
Absolutely.
Could you share with us some of the directions that the collective impact work is going to be kind of going?
Yeah, I can totally share. So I want to preface that what I'm saying is not law because we only held three and we're trying
Mm,
to host at least another 2 to 3 more.
mm,
So we did host one in Carbon Valley area. So that's Firestone, Frederick, and Dacono. Unfortunately, we did not get the turnout that we wanted. Grateful. We had one person that came in and Ernest and I were able to have a very long and detailed conversation with her about the needs in the area or what she sees.
mm. Ernest is the VP of Community Impact at
Oh,
United
yes,
Way,
yes.
right?
Yeah, so Ernest is as I speak, the collective impact team is two people. It's Ernest, who's the VP of Community Impact, and it's me.
Like power team because there's so much
Yeah.
that goes into collective impact.
Yes, and eventually the team will grow after Ernest and I do all of these things that we need to do in order to kind of direct that
Mm,
focused effort. We'll see. But what we heard from our funded partners, since we didn't really get to have that conversation with Carbon Valley, and we're going to think about how we can get back into Carbon Valley and hear from
mm,
them because we want to hear from the area. We want to
mm,
make sure that everyone feels represented.
mm,
But from our funded partners, three areas that they narrowed down to was transportation. We understand that everyone needs reliable transportation to get where they need to
mm,
go. We do have public transportation available and it's growing, but there's certain parts of our community that don't have access to public
mm,
transportation.
mm,
And then another one is stable employment and livable wage, making sure that everyone does have that paycheck available to them. If we don't have stable income, then how can the household be stable? And that was a really great point that was brought up by our community partners was we need to make sure that everyone has access to a livable wage and a stable paycheck. And then, of course, the last outcome that came up was housing. So that's kind of broad when you think about, well, what is housing? To
mm,
some communities, it may look like more options for affordable housing. It could look like having more vouchers available to people. It could look like having like a cold weather shelter. We still need to find out more from our community around what housing looks like to them.
I love your sharing how this works so that we can kind of wrap our heads around it because it is kind of this successive journey, right? In terms of having these conversations with the community and learning and listening. It's really impressive because I know how much work it takes to get people together in the same room and then talking about these issues and getting on the same page, building this common understanding and this common vision, it really is starting so broad across all of the different struggles that might be happening in a particular community. And then over time, it's step by step. It really does sound a little bit like an adventure of just continually narrowing and narrowing and getting more and more focused through these conversations towards that real kind of core need that
Absolutely.
I'm curious from the inside of collective impact. What do you wish more people knew about collective impact that you think maybe those of us who aren't in it on a day-to-day basis don't know? What do you wish everyone knew about collective impact?
I feel like I am a broken record when I say it because it's not just United Way. United Way is not the only part of collective impact. We
Mm,
are a part of collective impact, but we are
mm,
not collective impact.
mm,
We're not the one making all the decisions.
mm,
Really, I just wish everyone understood that, United Way is committing to helping make this change in our community And it's only going to work if the community helps us, if they bring together their talents and efforts to make collective impact, this great thing that we know it's capable of being. It's not just us saying this is what we're doing, it's the community saying this is how we're going to make a difference for our neighbors that we see.
That's a great distinction. Anything else that you feel like is that you would like people to know?
I think my last overall message is that collective impact is amazing. The people that work in collective impact, all of our partner agencies, the business leaders, the government officials, the board of directors here at United Way, everyone is really working hard to make sure that we're able to make a difference in everyone's everyday lives. And that it's really easy to join. You don't have to be the CEO or the executive director to come and listen to these things. We really want to hear from the people that just live in the neighborhood, live in the community, and that collective impact is not scary, but instead it's something that is so wonderful. It's very mosaic. It's something that really inspires me. And I think once people know more about it, they'll understand that why it's so important.
I agree. That's been true for me as I've learned more about it over time. So I just have one more question for you today, Ty. And that is, what fills your cup? What keeps you going in this work?
Yeah, I really think it's just human connection. I can guarantee you that everyone that is a part of collective impact, all of our partner agencies, everyone has great intentions to be able to make everyone feel human and realize that, hey, what you're going through does not define you. Instead, let's make sure that you are able to get the help that you deserve to be able to feel like you again. Make sure that you get back on track with whatever you may be facing. So I think that's what really fills my cup, is just seeing people come together and helping one another.
That's what it's about.
It is.
Thank you for sharing with us today, Ty.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate the opportunity, and I'm really thankful to be able to share more about it.
Join the caring power of the United Way of Weld County community. Visit unitedway-weld.org, where you can learn more about our projects, find great volunteer opportunities, and donate. Special thanks to our cornerstone partners, our leadership givers, and the many individuals who make our work and this podcast possible. The music you heard today is by Alex Productions. I'm Diana Smith, your host. Thank you again for listening to the Weld Together podcast. And until next time, be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and remember, even a little good can go a very long way.